Hello everyone, and welcome to week 4 of English 111. Hopefully by this time everybody's feeling much more comfortable in our online environment. I know we've had some bumpy starts, but hopefully by now you guys have figured out where everything is, and if you're getting lost or you have questions, you know how to get a hold of me. I do check my Clarion email frequently, but if you need to get a hold of me right away, the best way to reach me is my alternative email address, which is iris.dunkle@gmail.com. That's I receive that email all the time, and if you're really eager to talk to me, that's the best way to reach me. So this week we're going to be reading two essays. The first one is Peggy Ornstein's essay "What's Wrong with Cinderella?" It's found on pages 64 through 74 in The Conscious Reader. And we're also going to be reading Margaret Atwood's essay "Pornography," found on pages 78 through 83. I'd like you to review this week's lecture, which you're doing right now, then read your essays actively, and then write in your journal. There'll be a prompt. Hopefully everyone's figured out how to use the journal. If not, again, please reach out to me. And then also participate in this week's discussion. Just to give a reminder, each week you're responsible to not only post your own in-depth post that answers the prompt, you are also to respond to at least 3 of your peers' responses. That way it becomes more like a conversation that we're all having. So let's talk a little bit about arguments. The first essay we're going to be writing in this class is an argumentative essay. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how you make a good argument. Arguments, although contrary to our cultural beliefs, arguments are actually meant to be cooperative, a way to solve tough problems by cooperating, not by being oppositional. You can use argument for a number of things. You can use it to convince others to think or do as you say, which is our most common usage, but you can also use it for yourself to decide what you think, what you should think or do. A lot of times when you are going to form an argument, you begin with one idea about something and you'll change your mind. Argument also gives us uh, the patience to gather all the information. If you're going to make an informed decision, you need to spend time thinking about it and getting as much information as possible about it. It gives us the logical ability to use facts as evidence. And it also gives us skepticism to not just accept anything at face value. Someone tells you something, or someone's trying to tell you to believe something, you need facts, and you need logos and pathos, which we'll be talking about, in order to make you really believe what they're saying. Argument gives us the need to seek facts that contradict our own conclusions or somebody else's conclusions, and it makes us ready to change our minds. So, in order to form a thoughtful argument, you need to make a claim, and that's a statement that you want us to believe. Then you need to give reasons, evidence to support that claim. From the beginning, when you're writing an argument, you need to know your intention, why you're making this claim, what's the point. You also need to know the history of the topic. When did people start talking about this topic, and what are the different ideas about this topic? And you also need to understand something called counter arguments, and that is what other people have decided that disagrees with your own claim. You need to be able to refute those in order to create a convincing argument. The heart of an argument is the use of logos, pathos, and ethos. This is logic, an appeal to character, and an appeal to emotion. Whenever you argue something, you want to appeal to a reader using reason and evidence. That's logos. That's the facts and figures. Pathos is when you appeal to a reader's emotions. That's by giving real life examples of people who are affected by this, the thing that you're arguing, or putting a face on the issue you're talking about. Ethos is your persona. as the person arguing this point. You want to put yourself forward as trustworthy and open-minded and somebody who has experience understanding what you're talking about. This is where you want to be really careful not to show bias. Bias is where you clearly feel one way and you're really trying to, if you're talking about a source, for example, you don't give it you don't present the logic without tainting it with your own personal opinion. One of the ways you begin thinking about forming an argument is by creating an elevator story. An elevator story is kind of the seed of an argumentative paper. You guys can probably guess that's where we're going with all this beginning next week. An elevator story, if you're going to write an elevator story, and we'll be practicing this next week, the first thing you do is you write down the question or problem that your argument will address. Then you write down why that problem is important or interesting to you. Why were you attracted to this subject and why do you want to talk about it? Then you pose your answer, your temporary answer or solution. What do you think the solution is going to be? And finally, you list the evidence you expect to find to support your answer. These are the quotations from the text, all of those things to support the argument you're going to be making. So next week, we're going to have a really special library visit. Now, it is a live library visit at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, but I realize not everyone will be able to make it at exactly that time. So I will be online at that time in a WIMBA session, and our librarian, Linda Tarasnovsky, will also be online. She's the virtual librarian, and she'll be giving us a tour of the virtual library and giving you some information on how to use it. However, if you can't attend, this session will be taped, but you are required to watch that session before the end of the week. So I'll remind you of this on Monday when I send out the information about it again next Monday. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. If you can set aside some time on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that would be great. If you can't, don't worry about it. The session will be taped via WIMBA, and you can watch it that way. All right, guys, that's it for this week. As always, please reach out to me if you have any questions.